All right, testing, testing. This is the 360 view of the room. Here is my volunteer. Okay, next up is the equipment that I'll be using. This is the comprehension paper that I'm asked to give the participant. Hand wash, dull sensation, gag, and my pen light. Okay. So now I will be placing the camera and the field of view of where I'll be performing the head to toe assessment. Okay. Hi, good evening. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
My name is Roger. I'm a nurse.
Hello.
I'm performing a head to toe assessment. Could you tell me your name by your initials
NJ.
and your date of birth?
21185.
Beautiful. So first up, I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, so I'll be performing this head to toe assessment, but first I just would like to ask you some questions. Do you know where you are?
Clinic.
Okay. Can you tell me what you did for your last birthday?
I went on a trip.
Oh, awesome. Where did you go?
Disney World.
Oh, beautiful. I love Disney World. Next up, I would like for you to count from 20 using fives. And after you count from 20 to 0 by fives, I would like you to repeat these 4 words: blue, red, orange, green.
20, 15, 10, 5, 0. Blue, red, orange, green.
Okay, another test that I want to do, just for the attention, if you could count back by 100, 250 using tens only.
100, 250. 190, 80, 70, 60, 50.
Beautiful. Next up, this will be the comprehension portion. I would like for you to follow the instructions on this card.
Take paper in left hand, fold it in half, and place it on the floor.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. So now we're going to come to the physical portion of the exam, where I'm going to start from your head, eyes, nose, ears, throat, and then we're also going to be testing your cranial nerves while we're in that sector. Then we're going to move up to the general body, so respiratory, cardiac, musculoskeletal, followed by sensory and motor. Okay? So first, I'm going to look at your hair. What I'm going to look for is cleanliness and equal distribution, which looks great. Next, I'm going to go to the ears. I'm going to inspect both ears. Alright. I'm going to palpate both ears. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a whisper test. I'm going to whisper in this direction. Let me know what you hear.
Can you hear me?
Beautiful. You heard me. Okay, great. So now I'm going to move on to the eyes. So I'm going to check for extra ocular movement. I'm going to palpate the upper eyelid as well as the lower. Next up, I'm going to take my handy dandy pen light here. I'm going to check for pearl up. Make sure your pupils are equal and reactive. Okay, beautiful. Now, I'm going to check for accommodation. So I'm going to move the pen light. Beautiful. So now I'll be testing your vision using a Snell chart, but Snell chart I do not have. So how this would go is the Snell chart would have letters ranging from big to small, and by covering one eye at a time, you would read the letters, and that will determine the field of vision. Okay? So now I'm going to palpate your sinuses. So I'm going to start with the frontal and the maxillary. I'm also going to palpate sinuses in your head temporal, as well as the clavicle and auxiliary. Sorry, take a little bit, that's okay. Alright, so next I'm going to palpate the temporal arteries. Not only would I palpate them, but I'm going to also take, since we're there. next, I'm gonna check your nose. What I'll be checking for your nose is symmetry. I'll be checking with the pen light your nares, and then I'll also be holding each nares to make sure that they're patterned. Okay? So I'm gonna grab my pen light here. Okay, so nose is symmetrical. And I'm gonna use the pen light just to assess the nares. Okay? Now I'm gonna hold each nair just to make sure it's patterned that you can breathe. Okay, so breathe. Okay, beautiful. So now I'm gonna be checking the mouth. Could you open your mouth for me? I'm gonna check the oral mucosa. Can you say ah, ah, saying ah, okay, beautiful. Now I'm gonna check the cranial nerves, that would be part of your cranial nerves. So I just want you to smile, frown, puff your cheeks, purse your lips, okay? We'll be checking the TMJ. So clench for me, open your mouth, move your jaw side to side. Okay, beautiful. All right, so next up is I will be examining your throat. So you will turn to the side. So right now I'm looking for JVD, and if you turn towards me, I'm looking for tracheal deviation where there is none. I'm also going to be checking your carotid arteries bilaterally, one at a time. Beautiful. Amazing. Not only am I going to palpate, I'm also going to auscultate. Okay, so that's the next, the throat and the neck. Next, we're going to move to the respiratory function. All right, so this is going to be the respiratory assessment. I'm going to ask you to breathe in and out for me. I'm looking for bilateral chest symmetry and equal chest rise, which we have. Next up, I'm going to percuse anteriorly the 5 locations, as well as the 7 locations. Then I will also take the 5 locations as well as the 9 locations posteriorly, with you breathing in deeply and saying the word 99. All right? So first we're going to percuse. Okay, now posteriorly. Alright, beautiful. Now I'm going to also take. As I also take, you can breathe, take deep breaths. Okay, so now I'm going to also take 9 points in your back. As I also take, you can take deep breaths and say 99.
99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99.
Beautiful. Okay. So that will be the respiratory portion. So next up, I'm going to check your skin. For your skin, I'm going to note the color, any irregularities, check the skin turgor, and also for edema. And I'm also going to be checking your capillary refills on your hands and your fingers. Okay? So this will be both arms bilaterally, both legs bilaterally. So checking the skin, okay, no irregularities, color is fine. Checking skin turgor, it's good. No edema. Same for this arm, no irregularities, color is fine. Check the skin turgor, no edema. Okay. Now for the legs, all right. So no irregularities, skin color is fine. We're going to check for turgor, no edema. Okay. While we're doing that, I'm also going to check your pulses. Okay. So your pulses I'll check bilaterally, which include your radial, your brachial, the carotid, the femoral, your posterior tibial, your popliteal, and your dorsal pedal. Okay? And actually, before we start that, I'd like for you to lay on your left side for the PMI. Okay, PMI is complete. You may sit up. And then now I'll be checking your pulses. Very strong and bounding. Strong and bounding. Strong and bounding. Good. Strong and bounding. Down to the brachial. Beautiful in the radial. So now this is the popliteal behind me. Sorry for the ticklish. This is the posterior tip, dorsopedal, femoral, popliteal for the other leg, posterior tip, dorsopedal. All right, great. So now we're going to move on to the next portion of the exam, which is cardiac. I'm going to listen to your heart sounds using the diaphragm and the bell. So it'll be 2 series. I'll be starting from pulmonary, aortic, epipoid, tricuspid, and mitral, using both sides, all right? Pulmonary, aortic, epipoid, tricuspid, mitral. Now I'm going to repeat this again with the bell. Okay. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to tape the renal arteries, the femoral, and the aorta. So the renal arteries will be close to the belly button. Aorta a little bit north. And then the femoral on the right. Okay. So next up, we're going to move on to the gastrointestinal portion of the exam. So I'm going to have you lay down, but I'd like for everyone to note that my volunteer is pregnant. So I will palpate, but not really due to the circumstances. I'm going to do a full inspection, full auscultation of all quadrants. Like I said, palpate, and we'll take it from there. So if you lay out for me, please. Okay. So first, I'm going to also take all 4 quadrants, starting from right lower, right upper, left upper, left lower. Next, for demonstration purposes, the percussion will take place 3 times in a zigzag motion in each quadrant. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, beautiful. You may sit up. Next up, while I have her in a seated position, I'll perform the CVA tenderness, which is almost midline of the spine on each side. Okay, beautiful. Did you feel any pain?
No.
Great. All right, so after that, we'll move to the next portion, which is musculoskeletal. I'm going to be inspecting your joints, shoulders, wrists, elbows, knees, hips, ankles, feet, hands, digits, everything. We're going to be testing your range of motion, flexion, supination, pronation, abduction, adduction, all that. So if you would please stand for me. Okay, so you mind moving your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your hands. Now I'm going to test the strength of these. Go ahead. Elbows, wrist, hands. All right, now we're going to move to the leg portion. So I'm going to be testing your hips, your spine, knees, ankles, and feet. So if you follow me, just see how you move to the side, not for your spine. Flex, into me. Okay, then as for your knees, up and down, your ankles, your feet. Okay, now I'm gonna just test the strength. So I'm gonna put my hand here for your spine, just move towards me. Okay, beautiful. Move towards with your hips, towards my side. Okay, now for your knees. All right, good, good, very strong. Ankles, ankles, feet, and feet. All right, great job. So now we're gonna move on to the motor section of this exam. So I'm gonna have to walk across the room. Okay, you can come in more. Beautiful. Stop right there. About face. Great. So now I would like you to take your heel, rub it against your shin. You already walked across the room, so we're good on that. I'd like for you to tippy toe, walk on your tippy toes, and walk back to me with your heels. Then walk heel to toe. And walk towards me with an alternating motion, rapid motion, or whatever you prefer. Okay, beautiful. So you pass the motor test with flying colors. So next is the sensory test. I'd like for you to have a seat. Okay, great. So for the sensory test, we're gonna test sharp dull sensation. We're gonna do the Romberg, which will be with your eyes closed, looking for swaying action. The Grand-Pierre, which is where I'll be writing with my finger on her hand a symbol or a letter. And then lastly, the stereogenesis, where I'll be putting a object in her hand and she'll be asked to identify it. All right, so first, we'll start with the sharp and dull sensations on your arms and your legs. You ready? All right, let's do it. So here, I have these two items, and she'll identify which is sharp, which is dull. You close your eyes, please.
Dull. Sorry. Sure. Dull. Sure.
Okay, now moving on to the legs.
Dull. Sharp. Dull. Sharp.
Beautiful. So now I'm going to be moving on to the Romberg test. If you would stand for me, please. Eyes closed. Both arms out. As she has both arms out, I am not observing any swaying. Beautiful. You could have a seat. Now we'll move on to the next test, the Grand-Pierre. So I want you to close your eyes. Put both hands out. I'm going to write a symbol or a letter in your hand. I would like for you to identify what it is, just by touch.
A.
Great, beautiful. Next, I'm going to place an object in your hand. I would like for you to feel for it. Let me know what you think it is, all right?
Quarter?
Yes, that is a quarter. Great job, NJ. So you've passed this exam with flying colors. I'd like to thank you for being my volunteer and allowing me to perform a full head-to-toe assessment. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.